All right, it is recording. All right, welcome back. My name is Coach Joe. This is the Joe Bala Fitness Podcast. We are back with my next episode. I have a special guest here today. His name is Brice Johnson. Brice and I have met through some fellow friends within the hybrid fitness community, specifically DEKA. I had one previous guest. Her name is Tara. Brice and I also met her, through Tara. We've communicated, online, and then recently met in person. I think for the first time in person, right? At DEKA Fit in NorCal in Sacramento. So really cool to have you on. So welcome to my podcast, Brice.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having me. It's a great honor.
Awesome, appreciate you. So I wanted to introduce you formally. So you've given me some information about you. So I want to read off some of this information. Okay. So Brice Johnson is a 38-year-old hybrid athlete. His story is about resilience and transformation. His journey has not been easy. He spent over a decade in and out of prison and losing his parents at a young age, which shaped his early years as a troubled youth. Everything changed for him when he found Jericho. So you can see on the screen, if those of you that are watching, he has a Jericho shirt on. Jericho is also known as Jericho Project, right? So he completed a year-long commitment there and ignited a passion for helping others. And he dedicated 4 years on staff, to help those that are navigating their own challenges. Today he's happily married, father of 4. Family is everything to him, as well as for me. So a lot of my guests have the same feeling as well in life. Family is everything. So I brought Brice on because I wanted to have him share his story here with you, those of you that are watching and listening, to talk about his journey with Jericho Project, also what he's done through Spartan and DEKA, CrossFit. He and I have some commonalities there as well. And then what he's doing for his own journey as far as a nonprofit. And then he has a pretty cool story about a fellow Spartan DEKA member and athlete, and his name is Mark Jones. So, Brice,
Yes, sir.
pre-podcast, I bring on a guest and I interview. Basically, I'll give you a minute to give me an elevator pitch. Like, who is Brice Johnson? So it can be based on what you wrote to me, but also just what you want to talk about, like off the top of your head. Okay. So I'm going to give you a countdown of 3 seconds, and then I want you to give that 1 minute elevator pitch. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to go in 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and go.
Yeah, so like Joe was saying, I'm a 38-year-old male. Spent 10 years incarcerated. Found a passion when I went to a drug program, Jericho Project. Never knew that my passion would be wanting to help people. Man, I was the complete opposite. I was, career criminal, loved being a convict. And I found a good passion of wanting to help people. Found it there at Jericho. Fell in love with CrossFit, Spartan racing, DEKA. And then along that way, man, I found some amazing relationships with people along the way that has blossomed into great things that I'm doing now with my life. And it's fueling my passion now to continue to help people.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is. And then being a father for once and having family, something I've never had before in my life. I've never had family, never had something stable in my life. And I'm here to be a father to these kids and show them what a man is, and also, what a friend is too. So family is everything.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Brice.
Yes, sir.
So those that I've had on as guests, majority of them are from the Spartan community, from DEKA community, High Rocks, and CrossFit. So obviously I am a coach, and things that are important to me, one being, movement, and all these different modalities or types of, movement and training is very, very important for me to help me manage my mental health, manage my physical, my emotional, my spiritual, all that. The foundation of which is based on movement. Like first thing I do in the morning, mobility. Like I'll drink my water, obviously, but moving right away is so important to set the tone for my day. So for you being a fellow hybrid athlete, what is it about all the things you've done, Spartan, DEKA, CrossFit, and
Rucking.
rucking, right? And so those that are watching, you're actually my first guest that will share what this form of movement is, which is rucking. So all those things combined, like why do you do what you do in this space, in this hybrid space, and things like that?
Well, first I fell in love with physical activity because being an addict and being a criminal, it's you got to have one trade-off. Going from addiction and criminality, you just can't go from one extreme and do nothing. So I had to find something that's just as extreme, that's going to keep my attention, it's going to keep me going. The same adrenaline rush. It's like when you get done doing a WOD, you're done. You got your heart elevated, you're clear-headed, you feel great. I need that. I need that for my mental. I need that for myself. It's like therapy, So I fell in love with, just being physically fit and also, just being healthy, eating clean, no sugars, and just, trying to reinvent myself after years of drug use, years of just negative lifestyle, and being selfish. Now I have a chance to, be a father, be here as long as I can, and then be here with this kid as physically fit as I can, to be their provider, their protector, and also their friend, and be able to, raise the bar for them and be there, running with them, throwing the football with them, and doing everything. So it's just more, it's not just a physical attribute, having a good body and all that stuff. There's a lot to it, like the mental. Like if I'm having a bad day, I'll go on a run and I come back, I'm relieved. I feel relieved. I'm a lot better. I'll go hit a WOD or something like that. There's just so many good things that comes out of physical activity where you don't have to go to the doctor and get prescribed medication because you're depressed or anything like that, man. Just go in the gym to feel better, not just to look better, but to feel better mentally and physically.
I love that. That's a key message that you brought up there. Like a lot of us tend to find the easier way out to deal with challenges. Like, if you're not feeling right physically, mentally, emotionally, say they turn to substance abuse or whatever it is, medication. And what I've found myself as well as you is like turning to movement, turning to challenging things, forcing us to work through whatever's going on in here or in our heart. Like, like you said, run when you don't feel right, you run, right? I do the same exact thing. My wife, she'll bring up things like, Joe, did you do your movement today? And it could be any form of movement, like running, CrossFit, WODs, Spartan training, DEKA training, even just breath work or mobility, right? So the key takeaway, what Brice was saying there is just like, instead of relying on those other things, use movement to move through and past anything that you're challenged by. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Brice. So you mentioned early on, I want to kind of step back and talk about your childhood, like, going through not having both parents, right? So I personally, went through a family situation where my parents divorced when I was pretty young, and it hit me. It caused a lot of trauma for me, having to see my parents separate, losing that stability, seeing my dad go that way and my mom go this way, and then my mom ending up remarrying someone that was probably not the best role model for me, and I went through a lot of trouble sometimes with growing up with this stepfather of mine, right? So you come from a different path where you did not have both parents. Are you open to sharing, what that was about, or what did you
Yes, sir.
endure?
So I grew up, both my parents were pretty negative in their lifestyle. I mean, I never knew what love was growing up. I feel like I was just a big inconvenience to them. They were still just wanting to party, still want to do their thing. So it was like 1 year at my mom's, 1 year at my dad's. They were also separated. And then I was probably around 14 or 15 when my dad passed away. I had to drop out of school to get a job to provide for myself.
Mm,
And then a couple years later, my mom passed away. And so, like I said, I have no immediate family, had nobody. So I resorted to, criminality. It was the only thing I knew. And the people around me that I was hanging out with were into criminality. So I dove deep into criminality, started cultivating, and just grew up around wrong people. And it just forced me to be a criminal. And then I got really involved in that, dropped out of high school my freshman year. Couldn't complete it. Wish I could have completed school because I wanted to be an engineer, architect. I was doing really good, but I had no way to provide for myself. So I had to quit, get a job at 14 years old, get an apartment, start providing.
mm,
And it's hard to do that. And then money's not, 14 years old, you're not making a lot of money. So I started hanging around a lot of older people, starting to get involved in cultivating and doing that, and caught my first prison term for cultivating. Went to prison on that, and went to prison, and there's no rehabilitation in prison whatsoever. I went in there and came out a worse person. There's no rehabilitation in our prisons. That's where we need reform at. We need help in our prisons to actually rehabilitate people. I
mm,
came out there and it made my network bigger. And so I came out and was still loving the criminality aspect of it. And then was just in and out of prison. And then I caught my last prison term, did 5 years. And during my prison time, everybody on the streets that I loved and respected, I'd write them letters, give them phone calls, and no one was answering. And then I started thinking to myself, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm giving all my life and everything I love and value to these people in prison who don't respect. I had a son at this time, like, I'll never see my son if I continue on this path. I will stay behind these bars forever, if not die in here. And
mm,
I'm like, is this really what I want for myself? I'm like, there's a better path out there. I know there is. And so, after 3 years of getting no letters back and nobody answering my phone calls because my real friends didn't want nothing to do with me, I was on a path of destruction and mayhem. They wanted nothing to do with me. And I can only respect that. I mean, I wouldn't want nobody on that path near me at all. And I can only respect their wishes. And so I got sober and I was like, well, I need help. I've been ingrained in this criminality for so long. I don't know how to do anything else. And so I started looking around at programs, and then I started hearing a lot of people in prison talk about Jericho Project in a negative way. They're like, hey, they make you do this, they make you do that. And I'm like, that's what I need. I
mm,
need someone, I need accountability. I need someone to tell me when I'm fucking up and
mm,
what to do. I need good values. My morals and beliefs right now are completely backwards to what everybody else is doing in real life. I
mm.
need a normal value and belief system. And so I paroled from prison and went to Jericho, and it's been great ever since.
That's amazing. I think I remember you sharing a lot of your, story with Jericho Project through the interview you did with Yancy and Jared, right? The Spartan
Yes.
DEKA team, the original co-founders, right? So I remember also meeting, I forget which Spartan race it was. I met a couple of the Jericho uh, men that were volunteering on on the course, and I remember one of the guys, I think I was tackling the rope climb, and I was out there on course, and uh, I did it like in a way that he was just like, because I the way I move is like my background is like ninja warrior and stuff like that, and he just watched me climb that thing, like, he was like, how did you do that? And I was just like, dude, it takes a lot of training and just grit, belief in yourself. And I said, what's your name? And then, he said, I forget his name exactly, but I remember seeing him at a DEKA fit, the first DEKA fit in San Jose, a couple of years later. And I remember him telling me he's from Jericho Project. And I was like, what is Jericho Project? And then when I when he mentioned to me, he kind of told me a little bit, but I was trying to get to the next, obstacle. And then a few years later, I hear about Jericho Project, you guys coming through and being at DEKA Fit San Jose. Like, you guys came in a huge group. I can't remember how many you had.
30.
30 people. Yeah, 30 of you, right? So, and I just remember every one of you, every zone, like, you guys were just like, cheering us on. Let's go, let's go. And the amount of positivity, the amount of encouragement, the amount of selflessness that you guys give and gave that day. And when I met, the one individual at that Spartan race, I could see, like, wow, this is an amazing group. I definitely want to learn more about this. So can you expand on what is Jericho Project? How did you found them when you came out of prison, right? And so prison system. And so they, you dedicated, you mentioned 4 years of your life to them on staff. Like, can you expand on what is Jericho Project, and for those that are watching and listening, and then how are you still involved with them today?
Yeah, so Jericho is a rehabilitation center for men. It's a minimum 1 year commitment. It's a one of a kind program. They have the highest success rate in the nation. So, but also the highest failure rate in the nation as well. So a regular like Salvation Army program, their completion rate is 99.9% completion, but their relapse is 2 weeks. So if you complete Jericho, your relapse is probably 2 years. They'll give you 2 years. So we have the highest in the nation, but it's also the hardest program to do. It's a military structure. So I first went there not knowing my first program, not knowing anything, but I'm giving my 100%. I need this. So I go there, and so you go there, you get housed. They have an apartment complex, and there's no staff there. So it's 6 men to an apartment. They have a structure where there's managers and co-managers, and then 4 people per room, bunk beds and stuff like that. Everybody has chores. Everybody has responsibilities. So you got to get up in the morning, brush your teeth, fold your bed, get your stuff ready for work. And then you go to work. So you learn a trade there. You go out to real life construction sites, you learn a trade, and then you go back to headquarters, where if you don't have your basic education, they have a education system there, Miss K, where you can get your GED and then start college. And then if you already have your GED, you can start vocational classes and start getting a trade, starting to be able to provide for yourself. So they teach you real life stuff that, like, so we go store shopping every Saturday. So they give you a budget. So you have 6 men, you got to get grocery lists together, figure out how much it's going to cost, and you go shopping. I mean, how many of us know, like, being a criminal and being a convict, we didn't know any responsibilities. We lack responsibility. We lack accountability. And Jericho just blew me away, and everything I needed. They teach you how to be a real man. They teach we're not talking about our feelings. They don't allow you to glorify your past, glorify your prison, glorify who you are on the streets. That's zero tolerance there, which I love. Like, I'm trying to get away from that identity. I don't want that identity. I'm trying to recreate myself right now. And my past has nothing to do with what I'm doing now. And so I love that part. Then what's really tripped me out about Jericho, when I found out that, because you make a phone call and you do an interview, that person you're talking to is a client, someone in the program. So the whole program is ran by clients or people who graduated the program and is asked to stay on as staff. So the whole program is ran by us. And the only people that we hire out is our accountants. And that blew me away. And I'm like, really? This is all ran by us? And the director, sir, he's one of a kind. Same thing with him. He's been in and out of prison his whole life. And he found his passion trying to help people. So I was like, you know what? This is a good thing for me right here. So during that time, we only did 1 Spartan and 1 Tough Mudder. And so I asked sir, like, hey, I want to take over the social events. And he's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to build relationships with Spartan, CrossFit, and everything. This is what gets people, because you being a criminal, you being a gang member, you don't have a community. You don't belong anymore. So what are you going to do when you complete this program? What are you going to go do? So we have to show these guys, introduce them to communities like CrossFit, DEKA, where these communities embraced us. So when I went to my first Spartan race, it was like I was blown away, and everybody accepted us. Like, what are you guys? You guys like firefighters or military? We like, no, we're men in a rehabilitation program. They're like, supported us.
Hmm.
And I was like, no way. And then completing the race and then volunteering, that's the best part, volunteering. Seeing people finish that line and you hand them the medal and you're just talking to them. People are crying 'cause it's their first one. They're happy that they completed it, and they're like, "Yeah, you did it." And dude, that's where the energy comes in. Dude, the volunteering there is priceless. That's where I found my love, just seeing these athletes compete, and also people just beginning the fitness journey. You know, you see some people over there like, "Man, I'm glad you did that, man." There's some overweight people, but they still went out there and did that,
Hmm.
and it's that right there was just so much motivation for me. I asked, like, I need to take this over. And so took it over and started to go into almost all the Spartan races. I mean, DEKA was donating money for us to go to their events. And I built great relationships with Spartan, DEKA, Yancey, Joe, and then all the people I met along the way, like Mark Jones. I met him through Spartan, and now, man, that's my brother there. And just alone the community base and what fitness does to people, especially like Jericho it's a alternative sensing program. So you got people there that are, if they don't complete that program, they're looking at 20 years in prison.
Hmm.
So there's some people there that got some serious cases going on if they don't complete that program. And two, like, what are we going to do when we complete this program? They don't have anything. So it was important for me to introduce them to positive communities, which were out there.
I love that. Wow, that's amazing. So the role that you took over for building, you said social events, right? So you got your fellow Jericho project
Director.
director, your fellow members and students there into Spartan, into getting, into DECA, doing CrossFit, and which is the one that they're primarily doing right now? Is it more so DECA, or is it more so CrossFit, or which one is it that you're
So
doing?
it's more so DECA. So I got Jericho's the first rehabilitation program to be an affiliate of DECA.
Mm,
So Yancey made us the first affiliate program, and then Tara's doing one on the 21st of this month. So there'll be another one at Jericho this month, another DECA. And yeah, mainly a lot of DECAs and then Spartan races as well. And then a lot of marathons around the Bay Area that we did too. I got invited to go to with all the guys, and it's just seeing these guys, their eyes light up, and then also they see me go out there compete now, and they see me bring my whole family.
mm,
All my kids are competing, and I'm like, see, this is what you guys can be doing if you guys got kids and family. This is on not just you. Now you can bring your whole family to a Spartan race, and they can compete as well. So now you're getting the family involved into something that's healthy, something that's positive. And
mm.
like I tell the guys too, like, this is where you want to meet a female at. Like, you don't want to go meet, the girls that we've been chasing all our life, some hood rats or anything like that. You want to meet some female that's doing something with herself and is also fit. Because if you meet some female at Spartan race, she's got something going on. She's into her fitness. She's obviously doing something right in her life. And that's where you want to meet someone that's going to match your intensity, is going to match what you got going on.
I love that, dude. That's awesome that you shared that. So, um, your family, you mentioned, is very, very important to you. You're married. Did you meet your wife through Spartan or this community that you built, around?
Uh, so I met my wife, like I said, Jericho has a construction company, and we do glazing windows in the Bay Area, made high rises and stuff like that. So one of our graduates went back home and is working for a glass shop, and they needed help. And he's like, "Well, I know a bunch of glazers," and told him, and he says, we don't want to hire a bunch of felons." And so they talked him into giving us a try. And so we took on a job, completed it for him, and they were just blown away on how our yes sirs, taking directions, everything that we learned at Jericho. And so we began working for them, and my wife is a project manager for them. And
Mm,
so I met her through there, and then probably about a year and a half later, we started talking, and then we we eventually started dating and got married and happily ever after.
That's amazing. Does your wife race with you at all, doing these events and things like that?
Yeah, she races Spartan and DEKA. Uh, yeah, she and I got my kids involved, and actually Peyton wants with you. She wants to her fitness idea is to compete next year solo at the DEKA.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so yeah, so Brice mentioned his daughter Peyton. So I met Peyton at DEKA Fit, NorCal, Sacramento. So Brice and his daughter came up to my booth there. Some of you that are watching here on YouTube or listening, I was fortunate enough because I'm also a DEKA affiliate. I was able to set up my booth there for Bala Fitness, and a lot of fellow athletes came up to the booth, including Brice and his daughter Peyton. They did my challenge, which was if they did the challenge, they get to spin the wheel, right? And that spin the wheel one, gives you a prize. And so, do you remember what the challenge was that I had you guys do?
I think it was burpee, some kind of burpee.
Yeah, it's like a variation of a burpee with a tuck squat, like a tuck jump. And then you also had to do like a frog knee tuck. So that move is something that I actually coach a lot of clients on to do when we do Spartan training, to help you build power, strength, and all that stuff. Also builds your conditioning. And so, and then when Peyton and Brice completed the challenge, they spun the wheel, and then Peyton won. I think it was a 15-day like online coaching program from me. So we're about to start that pretty soon, right? So she's been trying to finish school, obviously, and now she has some time this summer to do that. So I'm excited to coach her and offer help where I can. So talking about DEKA and your family and things like that, how do you get how did you get Peyton interested in fitness? How do you get your other kids active in this lifestyle that you and your wife are a part of?
Well, it first started off, they came down to Jericho's first DEKA. They came down to see me and to participate down there, and they were just like, I want to do it. I want to do it. And I said, yeah, let's do it. So they gave it a try, and then they always see me training in the garage, or I take them out to events, and they just love the challenge, like, hey, this is a challenge. Challenge yourself. You should always be try and challenge yourself.
Mm.
And then on the way home that day, Peyton's all like, Brice, I want to compete next year. I'm like, what? You want to compete? And right there, it made me very happy.
Awesome.
And then our daughter, she's 10, and then Mason, he's 9 years old. So I'm getting them involved. They go on hikes with us, like when we do our rucking, get them involved in that. And they just got done finishing traveling basketball, and they did wonderful in traveling basketball. So I always teach them, man, you always got to be challenging yourself, man. Don't leave anything. You leave everything on the court, leave everything out there, and then let's work on what we need to work on. Let's be better. Let's be better than yesterday. And
Yeah.
so it's good to that program like DEKA or Spartan that you can have the family do and participate in. And just the environment alone is a positive environment. It's not like we're going out to a bar or some party, or we're leaving the kids here to go out and party at night on Friday nights, or go to the bar Friday nights. Like, no, you can find me in the garage working out, and the kids be working out with us if they want to, or playing basketball, riding their bikes, and they see what me and my wife are doing. And I'm hoping this will reflect on them and say, hey, no, my dad and my mom are doing this. I almost started getting involved in what they were doing, because it's just great to be healthy and fit and just not be overweight or anything like that, or just not be physically fit to work out with your kids or help them get better at their sport or what they're doing. And so I always want to be there for them no matter what.
I love that. That's amazing. You mentioned uh being you hinted at like being a role model or setting the example for your kids to follow, you and your wife. So movement is something that my wife and I also instilled in our daughter. Like she's 19 now, but she just sent us a photo in our group chat like, hey, I went to the gym today. And like she's been dealing with trying to finish her finals, and she's finished with her second year in college now. And you know, she's a busy kid, but like she remembers like all the little things we taught her when she was little, you know, all the way up until now. Like you got to fit in self-care through movement because that's critical for your, like we talked about earlier, mental health, yours, you know, not only mental but also physical, just your well-being, right? And one of the things you are into is rucking. So I want to kind of dig into that. So a lot of my listeners and followers, uh, I kind of, I offered DEKA Ruck at my last DEKA Mile and DEKA Strong event weekend, end of April, before I moved away from the Bay Area. No one ended up signing up, so I ended up having to remove the heats for ruck. But I've always had a curiosity about it, and I feel like it's something I want to dig into maybe this year. And what I know about it is you're wearing some kind of weight or rucksack on your body. It's a really good kind of low intensity type of movement. I think you're training in zone 2, heart rate zone 2 or zone 3 most of the time, unless you're hitting, you know, inclines and things like that. But can you explain for my listeners and viewers, like what is rucking and kind of how can someone benefit from it?
Yeah, so I gotta give a shout out to Garlic City Ruckers. So Junior and Miriam. So I met them at DEKA as well. So they have a big community base out of Gilroy. The Junior and Miriam are the most wonderful people and what they do for their community. It's not only rucking, they have a run club and what they do for their community. They go to high schools, they do a lot of stuff in their community. And so I went to go do the Golden Gate Classic this year. It's a trail run in San Francisco. So it's a 50K, 100K. So I was getting ready to go run it. And so I was talking to Mark. I'm like, hey, I'm getting ready to go do this 50K trail race. And he's like, why don't you do it with the ruck? I'm like, all right. I said, Mark, only reason I'm accepting this challenge because I know you can do it.
Yeah.
So I did 32 miles with 6,400 feet of elevation in 8 hours.
Wow.
So I completed that event, and Garlic City Ruckers were there, and they ran it. And so I completed it, and Junior comes up to me, and he's like, you just rucked that? And I was like, yes, sir. And he's like, hey, how about open up a chapter where you're at, dude? I like what you're about. I mentioned over the years, and I love Jericho and what you guys are all about, man. We need more. We're trying to make this grow. And I was like, yes, sir. You know, I'll be more than happy to open up a chapter up here, rucking. So started rucking, and they put on almost like Go Ruck selection events. So they do one in San Francisco. It's a 6-hour event where you do PT, team building for 6 hours on the beach. And then they also do another one in Gilroy, which is a 12-hour event where it's 12 hours all night long of PT, team building. And so it's just another challenge. And then Mark Jones, you know, the whole time I thought rucking was running with a ruck, but it's not. It's walking, like you're saying. It's a zone 1 and zone 2. So when I got introduced to rucking through them, they walk. I'm like, why are you guys walking? They're like, well, this is rucking. I'm like, oh man, my boy Mark Jones, I just see him run all the time with a ruck. So I thought it was running. So I've always been running with a ruck.
Yeah.
And so now I help put on events and do local rucks with my ruck club up here. And then we all get together and do these big events with each other. And then Junior, he just completed the Cordona race, the 250-mile race across Arizona. And I'm just saying, the people that I've met through Jericho, man, it's just amazing how the universe speaks to me. And then people just are in awe. And, you know, it's a blessing and an honor to people to ask me to help them, you know, bring, you know, community to bring. It's just amazing what a person can overcome in his lifetime and turn his life around. It's not impossible. I mean, if I could do it, anybody can do it. And just running into all these people. And so yeah, rucking is something, you know, my whole family can do. So we'll go out and meet up with everybody. We do it all the time in Marine Headlands. You know, the kids just hike it while we ruck it, and it's really good family orientated. It's good exercise, time under tension, builds strength in the legs. And yeah, it's just another challenge, I would like to do. So it's just another event.
How much, curious, how much weight are you carrying in a rucksack?
So the standard is 30 pounds for men and 20 for women.
30 and 20. Okay, awesome. Is there ever a time where you feel like you personally or anyone else like Junior might want to lift or carry more weight? Like when would that happen?
So on the normal rucks, I do 50.
Okay. Okay.
So when I go ruck, I carry 50 pounds, but if I'm running, I'll do either 30 or 40. But if I'm rucking with a club and it's just walking, I'll do 50. If it's a long distance, I'll do a bit less. Or depending on the distance, yeah, I'll put in more weight as possible. Or then sometimes I'll test myself, do like 100 pounds for 1 mile.
100 pounds for a mile. Wow. That's amazing. I need to start training with you because this is something I definitely want to do. And I feel like, where I'm at right now in SoCal, there's like so many like trails out here, but a lot of like places that I want to explore. And I feel like, most of the time I love to run trails, but I've never actually tried to do, rucking, unless it was like carrying, say, the water, the bags that we carry in a long distance like Spartan race, right? So like carrying bag what do you call that?
The sandbag or the water
Yes, sandbag or
or the
water, whatever,
bucket.
or bucket, right? So um I think getting into rucking myself would be like a really good way for me to hit the zone 1, zone 2, the lower intensity heart rates, because right now the way I do it is I'll go for a long distance run and just kind of stay in that zone, but I feel like there's more opportunity for me to strengthen my legs and build that muscular endurance, so I can perform better at Spartan races or DEKAs or things like that. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Well, you're in luck, Joe, because we have a SoCal chapter.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
You got to get me connected with them.
I definitely will. So we have a SoCal chapter, the Garlic City Rutgers chapter, and then I'm the North Bay chapter.
Oh, okay. All right.
So they're gonna be doing an event in October 29th at Lake Pariesa.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're gonna do a 200-mile race, a 100-mile race, a 50-mile race, and then 20-mile ruck.
Wow. Okay. Where
Machete
do you,
Madness.
oh, Machete. Okay. Okay. I know that one. Okay. So they're associated with Garlic City.
Rutgers.
Okay. Okay. That's something I definitely want to dig into for sure. So yeah, let's get that contact information over to me, and then I'll definitely look into it. I love that. Um, so we talked about, your journey with Jericho Project, your family, where you came from in terms of what led you to Jericho Project, what led you to Spartan, what led you to DEKA. Where do you feel like you are headed next, like in terms of your endeavors, your challenges? Like I know you mentioned you do CrossFit as well. But you also train in your garage. I do the same thing. I train in my garage, or I run outside. I go to CrossFit box. What else out there have you kind of has caught your eye that you maybe want to try as a hybrid athlete?
So this last Memorial Day, went down to the box, sat up in Petaluma, met this military guy who just signed up with Sav Up. He's like, hey, I'm doing back-to-back Murphs. I was like, let's roll, dude, let's roll. So this Memorial weekend, we did back-to-back Murphs, and then told him a little about me. And he's like, hey, do you want to do another challenge? I'm like, what's up? And he's like, let's do a Murph with 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I was like, that's a big that's a lot right there. And he's like, man, let's do the challenge. And so, that's something right there. And just right now, I'm just trying to keep my running up to help Mark with the world record in November. So that's on my goal right now. And then hopefully after that, I can start working. I got my nonprofit ready. I'm just want to be able, when if I launch it, I want to have the time to take care of it. So I'm putting that on pause until I'm done with this world record with Mark, so I
Mm,
can give it complete my whole, so I can give it my whole, uh, just give my everything that I have and not be distracted with everything else I got going on. So I just want to be able to have full attention on it. So hopefully by the beginning of next year, I'll be able to launch my nonprofit.
awesome. I love that. So let's touch on that in a bit. But you mentioned also your nonprofit. Let's touch on that. But you also mentioned Mark. So can you elaborate a little bit, like what is this world record, and who is Mark for those that don't know who Mark Jones is? So can you kind of share what you're going to be doing with that?
Yes, yes, sir. So Mark Jones, he's a race director for DEKA. Met him and Yancey through that, invited them out to Jericho for 3 days. They came out there and stayed with us for 3 days. And he told me afterwards, he's like, I haven't seen brotherhood like this since the military. He says, what you guys are doing right here is amazing. And Yancey was just blown away. He says, holy, just you're changing people's lives. I was like, I know, it's a great passion to have. He's seen people transform their lives and never touch drugs or go back to gangs again. I said, it's a good feeling. It's priceless. If I never would have met my wife, I still wouldn't be there right now,
Hmm.
because I've never, because like when you graduate Jericho, there's no big ceremony. There's no nothing. So we have community meetings every Wednesday where issues or a topic is brought up and we talk in a community setting. And so when someone graduates, they stand up and say what got them through Jericho, who helped them and stuff like that. And when someone stands up and say, hey, Brice, you know, when I was in trouble and you came down and talked to me, you got me through this. And then till this day, I get people that text me, hit me up on social media that said, Brice, I want to thank you. And I'm still doing good. And it's because of you. And all I did was give them words of encouragement or something that got me through the program. And that right there is just priceless. There's not a better feeling I felt besides being with my kids and being with my family, when someone just gives you that recognition that you helped them by just giving a few words of advice or showing them, hey, this is doable. You can do this. And that right there it's priceless.
Hmm. I love that. I love that. That's amazing. It's it's why I love what I do as a coach, as why I love what I do as a DECA affiliate and things like that. Just getting out there in the community, like little things that I can share myself as a fellow coach or fellow athlete with these, you know, people that I meet at these events and things like that. It's very powerful and, like you said, very priceless, because it carries someone in a way. It kind of stays with them, right? It carries them through whatever hard times they may face, right? Whether it's a race or event or challenge in life, like it's very powerful, very inspiring, and very amazing. That what can happen when you take the time to share little things that maybe you've experienced yourself, or maybe experienced by helping someone else, right? So I learned that a long time ago, like always pay forward what you
Yes.
learn, what you grow with, and always be a lifelong learner, because you're never going to be an expert in anything, right? And staying humble, keeping that humility, and being mindful of, like, what can we do in the community to help others, right? So that's
Yeah.
all. You mentioned,
So that's how I met Mark. And then ever since that day, I text him, probably talk to him quite often, and see him at decas and stuff like that. And you see his completion of the races that he did. I don't know if you're familiar with Go Ruck.
yes, yeah, I've heard
So
of it.
he's completed their selection. That's a 48-hour ruck event. It's the world's toughest race.
Ah,
So
okay.
like out of 153 people, maybe two or three will complete.
Hmm.
So he completed that, and just his accolades, or just his completions of with the races he's done, is crazy. And I've always looked up to him, and he's just a stand-up dude. And so about 6 months ago, he texted me. He's like, hey man, I'm going for the world record this year, and I need some brotherly help. And I was like, man, I got you, Mark. What you need? I can do social media, change your socks, man, make you some food. What do you need? And he's like, nope. I'm like, well, what do you need? And he was like, I need someone to pace me.
Mm.
I was like, pace you? And he's like, yeah, 24 hours with 40 pounds, 100 miles. I was like, Mark, I'm there. I got you, dude. I mean, it's a great honor that of all the people you know, I'm here for you, man. Whatever you need, I'm there. So can't let him down. So training for that. And then Oscar Mike Foundation. You guys can follow us on Oscar Mike. We release a video once a week. So they're recording Mark's journey. Also, there's a guy who's building a motorcycle with 250 years of veteran service. He's going to be releasing the bike as soon as Mark completes the world record. They're both going to be announced. And then we're going to have a red tie event where they're going to show it all and then trying to raise money for Oscar Mike Foundation for disabled veterans. Yeah, so it's a big event, and just trying to just once again pay it forward, man, to disabled veterans. It's we need to take more consideration to our disabled veterans. I mean, they fought for us, and this is the reason we have America and freedom and be able to race and be able to do what we do in America. So yeah, I'm all for it, and helping spread the word for Oscar Mike Foundation for disabled veterans. And Mark took this on voluntarily, and so same thing with the guy who's building the bike. They took it on voluntarily, and yeah, so we're grinding it out.
That's amazing. I'm looking forward to, learning more about it. You mentioned you'd share the link, so I'll definitely, put that in the show notes and description for this podcast. So definitely, everyone that's listening and watching, definitely look out for what Brice is doing to help Mark Jones and the community. So you mentioned, I want to touch on this. I want to be respectful of your time too. So I'm gonna lead us to wrapping up our interview. You mentioned to me you're gonna be starting this nonprofit, right, sometime next year. So I'm assuming you're taking everything that you've learned and experienced in life to this point, and you're gonna just put it all into this what I've learned through my own endeavors, like a passion project, like something that you just want to put all your heart into, all your mind, all your energy into. What is this that you're doing with your nonprofit that you plan to release?
So my nonprofit is going to call The Brand, because we're all branded felon, convict, gang member, and stuff like that. You go fill an application for a job, you got to check that box, felon. So we're all branded. So I want to get away from that stigma, and also give people a location or someone to reach out to. So I want to make a nonprofit for sober sober activities. So you got to be sober, and then introduce them to what got me going, to CrossFit, Spartan, rucking, all these communities that are great that still get me going and hold true to my heart. I just want to share this passion that I found through fitness, and that's what got me going, and I've seen that gets a lot of else people going. I mean, I wouldn't be here without if it wasn't for it and for Jericho. So I just want to continue what got me going and still gets me going to this day. I just want to make it known to everybody, man. Addiction doesn't have to be a brand to you, or felon doesn't have to be a brand to you. You can reinvent yourself, get a new identity. And so I just want to help that process out with people reinventing themselves and finding communities to go do that with.
I love that. Everyone take note. It's going to be called The Brand, and look out for what Brice is going to create, because I'm excited to see what comes from it, and whatever way I can help support you to get that out there, get the word out, like, share that with me, let me know. I definitely want to stay current on what you do with it. So typically what I do at this point in my podcast is I want to basically ask you 5 questions. They're like Q&A, quick question with a short answer. It could be a short answer, could be like yes, no, or like a short sentence. How does that sound?
Yes, sir. Let's roll.
Okay. All right. So here's your first question. So for Brice being a hybrid athlete, what is your go-to power meal before you work out?
Oh, meal. That would have to be right now, since I'm doing a lot of endurance, it just would be some electrolytes and some carbs, which would be some honey and some salt
Okay, so electrolytes.
and
And
some
what's the
carbs.
reason for honey? What's
That's
the
your
reason?
carbs. That's your carbohydrates.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
easy to digest, right?
Yes.
Okay, I love that. I put honey in my oatmeal or any kind of anytime I have fruit, I'll drizzle honey on there because yeah, it just gives me energy. It feels good to
Yep.
consume. So being that you run and ruck, what is one thing you do during your running or rucking that keeps you going? Like what is it that kind of is your driving force to get to that from the start line to the finish line? What do you have like a mantra? Do you have a saying that you say to yourself, or maybe listen to something while you're doing that?
I do have a mantra. I get to do this. Because
Mhm.
people complain, I got to go do this. Oh man, I got to go to the gym. No, you get to. You
Mm,
get to do this. There's people out there with no legs or no or disabled or something like that. Who don't get to do this. You get to do this. You get to run. You get to be healthy. And then also my family. My family is key. But when I'm having hard, man, you get to do this, man. You're able to do this. And so, I get to do this as one for me because there's people out there that are not in my condition or not physically fit or disabled. And I should be happy that I'm able to do this. So I get to do this.
I love that. I'm very much on board with that. I'm the same way. I say that to myself anytime I feel like I need a move, like I get to do this movement, this workout, this CrossFit WOD, this Spartan race, this DEKA event, whatever it is, like I get to do this because it's it's a blessing for me to be able to move, and it's a blessing that I can utilize this medium to inspire others to
Yes.
hopefully do the same. So I love that. Brice, who is your, if you had to identify, your superhero or a superpower that you kind of relate with, what superhero would that be? And then what would be that, and why is that?
Um, I would say Batman 'cause he's kind of dark. I got a dark past, but I also like to help people. So
Mm,
it'd be like a Batman, someone who's dark, really don't know about him or nothing like that. People really don't know about my past until, I talk to them and tell them. But they also see what I do now, and they're like, "Wow, you're an amazing person." But if
mhm.
they would see, my dark side, my Batcave side in the Batcave, it wouldn't be so great. But yeah, so I guess Batman.
Okay, The Dark Knight. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, if you were to, so this question 4 now, um, if you were to have to choose, let's say you had your let's say 30 years from now, 40 years from now, maybe 50 years from now, if you had to choose one last event, challenge, endeavor, race, and that would be the close of your movement chapter, your fitness chapter, what would that event or race or whatever, what would that be?
Go Rec Selections.
Okay. Okay.
That's the world's toughest race. That's it. That's if you complete that, you're a bad motherfucker.
I love it.
Yeah, that's something that Mark's been trying to get me to do. I need probably a whole year of getting ready for it. It's a lot.
Okay. Go ruck selection. Okay. I'm going to pay attention to that because, it's, uh, when I get into this, when I get into rucking down here, I'm sure I'm going to hear about that a lot. And then let's see what
So
happens.
I'll be down there. I'll be down in San Diego for a Grow Rec event in December. They have one down there. It's called. They have a 6 hour, a 12 hour, and another 12 hour event down there. So
Okay.
we all go down there. It's at some base down there. They have a go ruck or not selections, but go ruck events down there in San
Okay.
Diego.
All right.
I think at Camp Hamilton.
Okay. December. I'm gonna make note of that because I might have to meet you there and
Yes, sir.
so close to it. Um, all right, Brice, ready for your last question?
Yes, sir.
So you just mentioned Go Ruck Selection as like your one like bucket list kind of fitness endeavor, right? So if you had to leave a legacy for your family, for whoever's watching and listening, this podcast and learning about your story, what would be that legacy that you want to leave, or maybe just like a statement that you're like, okay, this is who Brice Johnson is? What would that statement or message or whatever you want to communicate to the next generation? What would that be?
That would be never judge anybody and always be willing to pay it forward. And you never know what someone's going through. So be willing to help somebody out. You never know who needs that help, who needs that push. So always be open minded to somebody. They might be in a rough state in their life, but they might just need a help. And then you might be that person that changes their lives. And you could. So I just don't be selfish and help others. Pay it forward. And if you see someone struggling, offer to help. See what you can do to help that person become the better version of themselves.
That's amazing. I love that. That's truly like what you're sharing there, like being selfless, being mindful to help others always. Like those are values that my dad taught me, at a young age, and I still carry it with me today. So that's amazing that you're of that mindset. You're teaching your kids that, you're teaching anyone that you've interacted with through Jericho, through your nonprofit, the brand, right, that you're going to call it, and
Yes, sir.
in the Spartan DEKA community, so, and the Go Ruck community. So I love that. Brice, how would people connect with you, and what's the best way for them to reach you? Like, do you have a social, and how do you want them to connect with you?
You can connect with me through Garlic City Ruckers North Bay on IG. Connect with me there if you have any fitness or anything like that. But yeah, you can reach out to me on there. I'm always on. And then yeah, see what we got going on. The Garlic City Ruckers, man. You gotta give a shout out to them. They're doing amazing stuff, man, through their communities, through everything. Yeah, they're amazing. Junior and Miriam are just amazing people.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually had Miriam on my podcast the first season or is it second season? I think it was my second season that I released. So yeah, amazing community. I still want to interview Junior. He's like on my list. So I definitely want to chat with him about his endeavors and things that he's accomplished, because yeah, he's an amazing human. So
Yeah, he just did that Cordona race, man. I just had 250 miles, man. That's just insane.
wow, that's something that's on my bucket list, to do some like ultra or long distance, race or endeavor like that. So that's
Well,
amazing.
hit up Machete Madness. Junior and Bream will be down there. And they got the 200, 100 miler, 50 miler, man. Pick your poison.
If you had to recommend something I do, which one would you say I should start with?
50 miles, because it's a 20-mile loop with I think 6,200 feet of elevation. So I would start off with the 50-mile one and see how you do, and then just continue to go up from there.
All right, I'm making note of it. That's awesome. Thank you, Brice. Well, I want to wrap up there. So everyone, please give Brice a follow. You said it was Garlic City Ruckers North Bay, right? So you're based in North Base or NorCal, San Francisco area, right? And hopefully you guys can see me take on some kind of rucking event with Brice at some point, or he and I actually raced against each other with his daughter and my buddy Claudio. So we were pretty much neck and neck throughout the race, and then it was pretty fun to be at the start line with you guys. So I look forward to doing some other events with you in the future, DEKA, Spartan, anything. So yeah, give Brice a follow, support his mission, especially with what he's going to do with the brand, his nonprofit. Thank you guys for listening and watching. Again, this is Coach Joe with Joe Bala Fitness. Till next time, guys. Thank you, Brice.
Thank you.
All right.
It's been an honor.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
All right. I will end the recording here.